Okay. Try not to panic. We are going live. Welcome to the second installment of, I gotta make sure I get this right. Wordpeddler Society presents The Padded Room.
Dun dun
Okay. So
dun.
today we have with us myself, Jack Childress, as always, Jennifer Amato, and from all the way across the pond, Mr. Damian Lee. Today, well, let's do a little administrative crap first. Um, you can post comments to us from one of the groups. Just make sure it'll show you a thing that says StreamYard. Click here, and it'll let your name appear. So do that, and this will be going up on YouTube as well. So like and subscribe and do whatever and yada yada yada. So anyway, to give this thing a bit of structure before we descend into conversational chaos,
Down the rabbit hole.
down the rabbit hole, uh, we're going to start with a simple question, which is um, what about men writing female characters? Now, Jen is technically our only female here. So, Jack, you're going to have to bring out your feminine side to help her out. So we balance this thing out. There you go.
We
There you
don't do
go.
that.
See, we're already lost.
You're already screwed.
So anyway, Jen, what do you think about that? What do you think about guys writing female characters?
Well, first of all, it's very hard to offend me. Um, so
Yeah.
my, my opinion on male authors writing about main characters which happen to be female is that I think you guys do a great job. I don't ever if it's a book that I know I'm not going to like, if it's a smut book or a romance novel, I already know I'm not picking that thing up because they describe women completely as if they were like, I don't know, this was something that their perfect woman, I guess, be.
Right.
Might be a little sassy, might be, but in reality, I think authors in fiction have pretty much, you guys do a good job. I can't really say that I've ever come across um, a character that I've absolutely hated just because, sitting there
Mhm.
thinking, what is this guy thinking? I honestly think you guys do a good job.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and hit like right off the rip. What is your take in those same scenarios with the sex scenes? Because you get those in books. Jeff's got them in his. I'm sure Damien's probably dropped something somewhere. Do you ever get squeamish when you're reading stuff like that?
I think there's a time and a place for it. 9 times out of 10, horror, zombie genre, and action novels, to me, I don't believe that there is really a place for it, but I think some people do a fabulous and phenomenal job kind of like sneaking it in there. And a
Mm.
lot of times I find myself like, oh God, this is like, it's almost as if I was, running it real life in my head, but it doesn't bother me as much as I thought. And I don't like where, it's extremely descriptive. You can be
Yes.
and then of course that's just my personal opinion. There are some people who are like, I don't care either way. A lot of women are, there's some that are, I don't care either way, but that's, to me, for me to continue reading, it's a fine line of
Mhm.
being sensual and respectful about it, or are you just going to go full on pervert? And full on pervert is my problem. I'm
Yeah.
not a fan because there's
Yeah.
some things, trust me, there's some things us women just don't do. And you guys like to write about that. And in this world, your guys' perfect girl does everything we don't.
Yeah. My own thoughts. My own thoughts on it. For me, writing sex is the same as writing horror, in that less is more.
Yes,
The less detailed you are about a sex scene, the more erotic it is.
I agree because that leaves
Uh,
so much for the imagination.
exactly. And then same thing
Yes.
with a horror story. Take the best example is probably the original Alien. You really
Okay.
don't see the actual alien very much, and that
Right.
makes it that much more terrifying.
Yes. Agreed.
Very true, because you're
Agreed.
waiting for that to.
I mean, I honestly, yes, I honestly do not. I know in cancel culture nowadays, a lot of people are like, oh, well, if you're not a specific race, color, creed, or sex, you shouldn't be writing about that. My opinion is, if you've got the imagination for it, go for it.
Mhm.
I don't have any problem with how people describe the women in, that are the main characters. Of course, if it was me, I know that I write, if I'm going to write something, I'm going to write about how would I want a woman to be seen in this. And of course it's, I'm a strong female, I could do it myself. In all reality, I can't program VCR back in 1985. but but I seriously, I think you guys do a phenomenal job describing the main character, which happens to be female, especially if you don't know how a lot of our, we're hard to understand.
You're freaking
Oh
crazy.
yes,
And
yes you
yes,
are.
yeah, it just depends on how much crazy you can put up with.
Yeah. The only real problem I have with it is um, female characters that are basically just guys with boobs.
That's
You know what
one
I'm
way of
talking
looking at
about.
it.
Yeah,
They're just like a guy. Their characters is written just like a guy would be, except they have breasts.
it really
And,
honestly isn't that
and
different.
well, yes, but men and women are definitely different.
Yeah, how philosophical you want to get.
Yeah, hey, that's
Because
we're talking about rabbit holes. Let's just jump on
I
in it.
mean, if we're diving in this rabbit hole, I mean, we're talking about psyches, we're talking about
Mhm.
philosophical, we're talking about, thought processes, morals that encompass each individual. You can go on and on about this stuff, but eventually it's going to be up to the writer because whether you try to project your own self into your books or anything or not,
Mhm.
you're probably going to um
Yeah, bits and pieces of yourself.
implies, yeah, bits and pieces of yourself, your morals, your values, all that stuff are probably going to fall in with a lot of your characters. you know some things some
think
people absolutely refuse to talk about.
Yeah.
I think it's important that we steer away from the whole damsel in distress role as well.
Ah,
Not
yes.
conform to the stereotypical women need saving. Because it's not 1960s anymore either. So it's getting that fine line, I believe, isn't it? Not going too far into the masculine role, but again, not conforming to the stereotypes that have been there
Mhm.
in the past.
Get this guy an award.
How can I
That was perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
Hey,
I mean, a lot of it we do, I think, still have that view of women as, they need saving when feminism has come a long way. And we
Mhm.
do a lot of we could do bad all by ourselves, okay?
definitely?
Yeah. Well, I mean, just take physical violence for example. Just
Oh,
like a fist fight. Now, I have seen and been involved in all sorts of different fisticuffs related activities. I grew up in Chicago. I mean, come on.
yeah, you
That's what we
had
did
to.
for fun. That's what we did for fun.
you damn Midwesterners.
But I've seen fist fights. I've seen gang fights. I've seen barroom brawls. I've never seen anything more vicious than two women fighting.
Yep.
Yeah.
Never.
That is a
Yes.
scary thing. I have witnessed that a
It
few
is.
times myself. It's like there's hair getting yanked out, there's lips getting ripped at.
We'll
It's like,
grab
and guys are
anything.
just doing this.
We'll grab anything. But
And
I
that's
was
why I won't. That's why I won't fight with a woman, because there are things to be grabbed
yes,
that I don't
yes.
want grabbed.
No.
Now, being a female, I was a corrections officer back in Ohio, which if some people know. And let me tell you, I worked in booking, and there was not one day where I did not go home with having to have fought male and female inmates. And you know what? I'd rather fight a girl, or I'd rather fight a dude than fight a girl, because these girls, they're screaming, and it's the screaming that I can't stand, where I'm just like, elbow to the face. Stop it. Just be quiet. But it's a whole different, and unfortunately women, and you'll see it, you're going to see a lot more of it, women are actually getting more involved into the violent aspect of fights, violent crimes, violent everything. We're getting more involved in that, and we're getting more in trouble. We're getting pulled in and hauled in for that. And it's scary how that works, because it's like, we were told, in the 50s, that it's not ladylike. On the other hand, you don't have to act like you were raised by wolves. you know you could still be a lady, still do things on your own and independently, but you don't have to act like you're a wild animal. Just
Right.
saying.
So what about the UK, Danny? Is it the same there?
Yeah, I think it's a case of men, like you mentioned, when you get engaged in fisticuffs, you're talking punches, kicking, stuff like that. With women, it's just a whole different ball game. The claws come out, don't they? And like you say, hair's pulling out, and it is just vicious. I've seen many a fight in the past, and been involved with some myself as well. Fortunately, never been on the receiving end of the the claws of women when they're fighting and things like that.
I was about to ask you if you've ever gotten your ass kicked by a woman.
Yeah, well,
No.
I mean, there's been times in previous job roles where I've had to, get hands on and take control of the situation and things like that. And just like you said, Jen, I'd much rather engage with a male as opposed to a female, just for those reasons.
Yes.
Like you said, they're a lot louder, they're a lot more scratchier. So yeah, I mean, but it's the same over here as well, definitely.
So we could basically compare women in a fight to Wolverine.
Yeah.
Pop.
Yeah, pretty much.
No,
Yeah, that's a fair.
Full slash.
Wolverine carrying a grudge.
Yeah,
Women never forget.
No, they don't.
True, very true.
Jen just sitting
You're
over here
not
right
wrong.
now, like, yeah, well, And at this point, she's even looking at the three of us, like, yeah, I could take them.
We're toast. Forget it.
So now here's my big thing.
You guys aren't wrong.
What is something you look for when a writer writes a female character? What is something you do want to see them write?
Good question.
Oh, that is a very good question.
I'm the stump man. I stump you every time.
You really are. You really are. This is my third or fourth podcast with you, and I just am amazed. I think one thing that does annoy me, that I've noticed, is that when the female main character is presented, a lot of times she is overly and almost comically snarky.
I can see that.
Sarcasm has a place, and snarky has a place. Like, I can sit here, I can be one of the boys. I can go out on guys' night, we can have a good time. You're not going to catch me saying some of the stuff that these chicks are saying in these books. You're not going to catch me saying some of that stuff, just because it just sounds almost like junior high-ish. if that makes sense.
Okay, well, you've obviously, like a lot of us, we're all Mark Tufo people around here. So what's your take on Tracy Talbot?
Actually, don't know who that is.
What? Oh, we got to fix that.
I have not read a Mark Tufo book yet.
We have got to fix that. And
Yes, I have
here
not.
comes
We have
Nick.
Mr. Nick Collins. How you doing,
Hello.
Nick?
I had trouble getting it on my iPad.
Hey, speaking of someone that's written some killer female characters, this guy right here knows a little something or thing about female characters.
I have a lot of people. I have a lot of people I have to read, apparently.
Yes, you have much homework.
I do.
I know nothing.
But first, you have to watch Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
Yes.
That is definitely number one on the list.
That's one of the things I've never watched.
What? Okay.
Agreed.
Now,
I didn't
we're
either.
already falling off the
This is blasphemy. Please, Damien, tell us you've seen it.
Yeah, you've got to watch it just for the soundtrack alone. I mean, the music.
Yes.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yep.
Killer clown, wow, wow, wow.
Well, Damien, this is kind of off topic, but I got a question for you.
Yep.
So you're from the UK, and I have a friend in the UK. She lives around London area. My husband's been asking me to ask her, but I'll ask you: Oasis or Bush?
Oh, that can.
Oh, damn!
He
hit with a hard-hitting question.
Can I say both?
You gotta pick one. If it's the end of the world, gotta pick one.
I have got quite an eclectic taste, to be honest with you. What I would have to say would be Oasis, purely because I think I like more of the songs as opposed to Bush. I think they're both really good, obviously, but just by the sheer fact I can name, a hell of a lot more Oasis songs off the top of my head, I'd have to say Oasis, definitely.
Okay, all right, I'll let him know.
Well, as a metalhead, I have to go Bush.
See, I would have had to go Bush too, but
as an old guy, I have to say Pink Floyd.
Who?
Yeah.
Oh.
Nick, what do you have to say?
Oasis. Just because I hate each other. Just the brothers, they just hate.
Yes.
Okay.
It's like they play a song, they fist fight, they play another song, they fist fight.
How they ever survived is beyond me.
Hey, I asked that about a lot of people.
Yeah.
All right, well, while we got you guys here, I need to go ahead and get this out of the way right off the rip. Jeff, I know you got a new book coming out. Nick, you just released a book. Damien, you got the virus going on. We'll start with Jeff. What y'all got coming out right now?
Okay. My narrator is finally finishing The Smell of Zombies in the Morning.
That's got to be
so
great.
That should be out in 2-3 weeks. And then I'm working on the final book in the zombie series, which is Full Metal Zombie, and it should be coming out sometime end of April.
Just after my birthday. Just saying.
I'm giving you all the other ones.
I know you have.
Damn Aries.
Ramming it up over here.
All right. What was the last audio book I sent you?
That would have been book 6, which was
Apocalypse Zombie.
Yes,
okay.
Apocalypse Zombie. Yes, because I've
so
literally got
I've
literally got all the paperbacks over here. Oh, by the way, right there, and I think right beside you, that's a big smiling bloody mouth.
Yep.
Right here. And wait a minute, come to think of it. There's Better Dead Than Dead Than Red right up top up there. So,
could everybody check their computers? We got a bit of an echo.
There's an echo.
And it's because
Something's weird.
Well, no, it's because the stream is coming up in the background on somebody's computer.
Yeah, won't be me because I got the one thing and the one thing only.
Not mine.
Everybody good?
Yeah.
Yep. Well, Nick, you just released a book, which I got the great pleasure of reading. By the way, I hadn't read anything alien related in a long time, and man, it was some good stuff, dude. So what's going on with that?
Well, I am going to do a sequel. It's a trilogy, but it's just, you know what it's like when you write a book and you've done several other books as well, different genres. Everybody wants a sequel to that book. So at the moment, unfortunately for me, I haven't stuck with one genre. So I've got everybody saying, "Oh, when's the sequel coming? Oh, when's?" So at the moment, I've got 5 sequels I've got to do, and there's only so much bloody time.
Agreed.
So at the moment, I've got. I'm about 3/4 through my sequel to my time travel book, but after Christmas, my father-in-law had a health went to shit, and my wife, who's got MS, she's had a relapse. So absolutely no work has been done on it. But everything seems to be coming back together shortly. So hopefully in the next few weeks, I should be able to get that first draft actually finished.
Well,
and
you know,
that's a good point to bring up to the readers. Much as we love you guys, life gets in the way sometimes.
Oh, yeah.
Most definitely.
Yeah.
Well, now, now, again, on that same subject, because we've discussed this before just in our own little private little chats and whatnot. I want the story you were talking about where we get to go back to what zombie apocalypse, where it's viewed the same story, but from outside looking in instead of being with the main character, because I freaking love that damn book. Absolutely love that damn book. I laughed out loud with that book. It was so good. And you said something about doing it.
Which one you're talking about?
It's called
Never Ready.
It's called no with Nick. He's got one called What Zombie Apocalypse. You know, like I don't know anything about zombie apocalypse, and his character literally bumbles and stumbles his way through the entire thing. Should have died 100,000 times, and yet survives. And now he's talking about doing a book where it's the people that are like sheltered, hiding out, and they're seeing this guy do all these ridiculous things, you know, and somehow survive. I want that book.
Yeah, that's another sequel, you know. But what zombie apocalypse is like Shaun of the Dead on the budget. Shaun of the Dead on the budget. And how he ever survived, I have no idea.
Okay, spoiler alert. One little thing I do want to give. He jumps out of a window, hits a trampoline, thinking he's going to bounce over the fence, and
No,
splat.
Face first, right through a fence.
So yeah, I want that. That's good stuff.
Yeah, the sequel is going to be like because he lives in like a block of flats in High Wycombe, where I grew up in. So there's going to be like an opposite block of flats that have been caught up in the whole zombie apocalypse. But every time they try and do something, they're thwarted by this lunatic who somehow manages just to bumble his way through. So there's all these little bullet points that's from the original book. He's going to come through the sequel. He's just going to turn up occasionally and just ruin their lives and ruin their lives. It's just like, you know, one little spoiler is like, he doesn't really know how to drive a car. So he just finds this automatic and tries to think back a time where he had an Uber or something like or a taxi, and he saw somebody drive it. So he bumbles his way through it, plants its foot down, and it just goes shooting out of the car park straight into another car.
Oh my
Now,
God.
in this sequel book, these people have just been loading up that car to make their escape, and then suddenly it comes out of nowhere and wipes it out, and they're watching it from their window, and it's like, oh, that
Shit.
twat!
Oh my God. That
I
sounds
love it. I love it.
fabulous.
And it's just like, yeah, I've just got need time to write it. So far, there's like people emailing me, oh, when's because I've done a book, The Victorian Vampire. People want the next one of that, the time travel one. That's my best-selling one so far, and they want the sequel to that. And they stand among us. They say, oh, that's a trilogy. Oh, I can't wait for the next. It's like, oh man.
Well,
Need a time machine just to go back and write it again.
You know your issues are completely your own fault, right?
Oh, yeah. That's what my wife says. Yeah.
All right, Damien, come on, man, give us an update. What's going on with you now?
Well, I mean, I was pretty much the same as Nick. I released the virus with the intention of it being a standalone. I had loads of ideas of different books I wanted to do, different ideas, but then just the same as Nick, everyone was messaging saying, when's the next one coming out? Can't wait for the sequel. And it was almost like an assumption that there was going to be a sequel. So I just thought I'd have to give the readers what they want in that respect. So I started writing The Host, which is due to come out in 2 weeks, I think. Which is a follow-up sequel to The Virus. Basically, it happens that it's a week later from the events of The Virus, and it takes off from there, really. So based on feedback, I mean, I've got a couple more, I reckon. I'm not going to make it one of them, the epic series that about maybe 10, 20 books, I don't think. I don't know. We'll see how we go. But yeah, I definitely want to start, branching out on different ideas, but you got to give the readers what they want. If people are asking for a sequel, just like said, you've got to give them I suppose.
Yeah, when I found out you were coming on today, I checked out your page and saw there was some guy that reads like the first chapter.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? And
Yeah.
you read the prologue in the first chapter, and dude, that shit's full on.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah. I mean, I was quite lucky with that one. That was Carver Pike's podcast, I think it was, wasn't it? But yeah, a lot of people, that they like the cover art. They then bought the book, and then it was the cover art that sold it for a lot of people. But then I got messages saying, you know what, it was really good. It was action packed, and things like that. So, but yeah, they wanted more, and I never anticipated on giving them, any more than the one-off zombie book, really. But like I say, I had a quick think of something else, something else to. So.
Yeah, I did You Never Ready for a Zombie Apocalypse was the same way. I wrote that. I could have ended it right there, but people kept saying, oh, no, we want more. I'm in book 9 now. Enough.
Yeah,
Why not?
We're never gonna let up on you guys, by the way. That's what the do. We don't,
Yeah.
Very true.
Yep.
We don't let go.
Mm-mm. I will ask a question to all of you. What was your guys' inspiration for your female main characters?
I've always liked strong women.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah.
And,
Was there a particular person in your life that you modeled her after? Or?
it was we got a hi y'all from I don't know some anonymous person here, but I just the women I met from the military were all great, all of them, even the ones I didn't like very much. So it was just natural to go that way.
Okay. Nick?
Yeah, I think my mum was always strong. She had to be because obviously my father did a bloody old Billy Longlegs and did a runner early on. Didn't really want to grow up, so he thought, "Oh, piss off then." So she had two boys to bring up. We've all had our own troubles in life, so and my wife, she's very strong. You know, she has to put up with my shit a lot. And to be honest, she's the one who reads my books first, and she is my moral compass. Sometimes I can write a book and think, "Oh, that's funny. I've got to keep that in," and she goes, "No, just no. You can think that kind of shit, but you can't put it in print." So it's, and to be honest, we all like strong women characters. Most of the blokes I know, they don't want some blonde cheerleader running away, and they want strong women who will put up a fight when they're pushed into a corner.
Okay.
Although having weak ones does add comic relief. Because there are weak and strong men and women.
Absolutely.
Having the weak one, it can be fun
Yeah.
in small doses.
Now,
Very
something I
small.
haven't in any horror novels, as far as talking about weak and strong and all that, you always see the stoner guy. There's always the stoner guy, the drunk guy, the whatever guy, but you don't really ever see like the stoner chick. Where the hell's she at? We know she exists. I've seen them. I've met them. I've hung out with them. I've slept with them. Where the hell are they at?
That's a good question.
That's a good
Mhm.
Yeah, I just don't know these authors right here. Yeah, homework.
You sure are giving out the homework today.
I
I just
am
think
a teacher.
I think sometimes you've just got to be very careful when you're writing a female part that you don't insult some. You may think, "Oh, that's funny," or you've just got to be so careful. Now, especially nowadays,
Yeah.
that it's just you just can't. If you say a piece of paper is white, there's going to be someone out there arguing that it's not white, it's cream, or there's a shadow in the top left, or it's something. It looks like a snowflake. You just got to be so careful what you write now.
I ignore those people.
You have to.
You have to.
Well, that's why.
Damien?
Where's your stoner chicks at?
What's
Sorry.
that?
I said, Damien, where's your stoner chicks at?
I don't know. I mean, I had a stoner guy in the virus, but I feel called out now. I'm feeling out on that one. I might have to include one. To be fair, I am messing about with the idea of a spin-off with one of my characters from the virus who departs from the main party, and I'm planning on a potential spin-off with her, and she's going to be into that kind of thing as well. So maybe down the line, I might get around to writing that one. But,
well, right on.
Yeah, this is finding the time, isn't it? I mean, I've got people wanting, the direct sequel to The Host and things like that, which, takes up, to The Virus, which takes up most of your time. And then when that one comes out, no doubt people will be wanting the next one, and it's just finding time to do it all, really.
All right, well, quick question from Stephen Boosfield. Do you all think political correctness belongs in literature?
I don't think it belongs anywhere.
No, absolutely not. From my perspective, from The Virus, I mean, I've got The Virus. Basically, for those who haven't read it, is follows a bunch of criminals. So there's no political correctness at all. They will literally just act like criminals. They say, things like they're, the homophobic, they're the misogynistic, the whole
gamut. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, in order to make it realistic, I think you have to try and avoid political correctness in a way. In order to to get that message across. I think if we do conform to the whole political correctness ideology, then you lose the art, really. You lose that creativity, and you kind of become suppressed in a way.
Agreed.
So I think it's important to try and like steer away from anything like politics or anything like that in your book and just write what you feel is correct at the time.
I think that touches on an extremely important aspect of, you said literature, this was your art. And free speech is a real thing. It should be covered under the First Amendment, just like everybody else's free speech. This is an art form. This is your art coming from your soul, your heart, your fingertips. And I don't think that anyone should ever have any ability to tell you guys what should be able to go in your books and what should not be able to go in your books.
Preach.
The end. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
Testify.
Here's my answer to political correctness.
Yeah.
This movie, which is arguably one of the funniest movies of all time, would never get made today.
Nope.
No.
That is a tragedy.
Mel Brooks would absolutely be just ran out of Hollywood on a rail.
Yeah.
Well,
Canceled.
here's the funny thing. It was written by Mel Brooks and Richard Pryor.
No.
And the way they did it when they wrote it is Mel Brooks took the black jokes, Richard Pryor took the white ones.
Little
That was an
tidbit.
excellent question,
And it
though,
was
Steve.
well, it's a parody about racism.
Yeah.
How else are you gonna do it?
But the other thing, sometimes I think they blame the authors too much, saying you can't put that in your book. But read the back cover, read the sample, look at the cover. And all our covers, generally, you know what you're getting.
But you're not supposed to judge a book by its cover.
Oh.
Yet people still do.
I'd pick do. That's why most people bought my book, to be fair.
One of my favorite reviews that I've gotten was from a guy who complained that the characters all swore like sailors. It was in a series of books about sailors.
Shut up.
Literally the freaking Coast Guard.
What the fuck is wrong with you, dude?
Yes.
I think my best insulting review was, this author cannot write. He writes like a 12-year-old. And I'll tell you one thing, my teacher would be happy about that. You know, but then again, you look at the reviews, some of them are so scathing, but some are just, applauding you. So who do you listen to most? You know, at some point you just go blind, don't you, to them?
I would
know,
think
you have
that you
to.
would.
That's a good question for my fellow writers. Who do you write for?
The hard one, that one. I think for me personally, I just write the stories that are in my head. I don't have a reader in mind. I think after feedback, like I say, from the first book, I've started to steer towards those who are asking for books. But even then, I just write the book that forms in my head. I don't really think about, will this person want it, will that person want it. I write the book and hope for the best. Really, that's my slant on it.
I think that I write the first draft for me, and I polish the book for the readers. You know,
Yeah.
I just make
That's
it read
really
a
good.
little bit better.
That's
Because
really good.
I can just write and write and write, and some of it should just be burnt at the stake. Never see the light of day. So I write the main book for me, and I give them the polished version, because I need an editor to do my work for me. I can do the writing, but I have a bit dyslexia and a bit nuts. So I need somebody to give that professional polish to it so I can sell it. You know, so that first draft is for me, and the rest of it is for your readers.
Well, I hear so often from so many authors that the whole idea is write what you would want to read. Because if you don't want to read it, then why are you writing it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I've got to have fun with it.
Yeah.
Because if I'm not having fun, nobody else is going to be either.
That's it. I love audiobooks, so I love listening to my own work, and that's not being narcissistic or thinking of how great I am. I find my books funny.
They are.
I really do enjoy listening to my books. Like I love listening to Mark Tufo's books and R. Hayward's books. I just
the key is having the right narrator.
Yes, absolutely.
It's having the right narrator. I had this thing. It was a screenplay I wrote 20 years ago called "Scream Bloody Cheerleader," and I always liked it. It's a spoof on 80s horror movies, and I always liked it. And so I published it as a screenplay. Nobody even looked at it. Then I novelized it, and they still, it was like, okay. Then I gave it to my narrator, and his interpretation of it makes me laugh my ass off. And I've been living with this thing for 20 years.
And why haven't we got this in our hands yet?
Right.
It's on my page. It's on my author page.
Okay. Everybody get to the author page. I'll be getting there as soon as we're done with the show.
Mm-hmm.
So now, my big thing, when you guys are writing characters, especially the female characters, because to me, as a guy, I would have the hardest time writing a female. It would basically almost be like a robot wrote it. Like, this is literally based on the women that I know, and that's it. I can't add anything to the character. I can't take anything away from the character because pretty much I will wreck it if I tried to do it. How do you guys really get in? This is going to come across so wrong. But how do you guys get inside of a woman?
Remember,
this is the best podcast ever. This is the most fun I've had. Yes.
Welcome
please.
to the padded
Try,
room.
I want to see you guys get inside of me. This is gonna be great.
Well, I find it fairly easy because the way I can't speak for how anybody else writes, but the way I write is each individual chapter comes from one person's point of view. That allows me to get inside their head and view different scenes from a different point of view. So,
Okay.
He's being so careful right now.
Yeah, he really is. It's okay.
Right
you do not have to walk on eggshells.
No, I studied psychology for a long time, both in school and out of school. And there are certain differences between the way men think and the way women think. It's a sweeping generalization.
No.
Yeah.
I swear.
Couldn't be.
Well, no, there's physiological proof of this. When at a certain point in gestation, the mother will excrete a hormone. And all fetuses are inherently female to begin with. And so at a certain point during the gestation period, I forget which trimester it is, they excrete a hormone. And for the babies that are going to become women, nothing happens. To the babies that are going to become men, it literally causes brain damage because it severs a lot of the connections between the two hemispheres of the brain, which is why men tend to compartmentalize better. The emotion and the logic don't mix. Whereas women, it's kind of, you can't separate them. That's not good, that's not bad, that's just, it is.
I
Well,
don't know. You've never been through a bout of PMS.
Dude, I go through PMS every day at work.
I've waited the results of it enough time.
Results are different than what's going on up in here, buddy. We've murdered you 8 times by 8 a.m.
Yeah, yeah, I know that. I'm well aware of that. So when I write a female character or any character, what I'm doing is making an educated guess as to what they're thinking while they're talking or other things. And it's not, I don't, it's a matter of mixing the emotion more in the female characters than it is the male character.
You just keep on digging, buddy. You just
Keep digging that hole, man.
Well, men don't do emotion well, generally speaking.
No,
No,
we
you
don't.
guys have been told it's not manly to be
Yeah.
emotional, and that in itself is destructive.
Well, now that's one thing that's not entirely true because the one thing that we do have as emotion is we laugh at everything.
Everything.
thing.
It's like
Everything.
everything's funny. It don't matter. Oh, Jim just had a car fall on him. Oh, was it a
Yeah.
Volkswagen?
I laugh at farts. It's okay. I mean that's okay because they're funny. But I think you guys. I don't think that I could write if I was a writer. I don't think that I could write a male character because I'm not a guy. I have no idea what it's like to be a man and just, I assume because you guys have all the testosterone, we have testosterone too, but it's more predominant in men. I just assume you guys are just walking balls of rage when you're like hit 11. That's my assumption, and I don't think it goes away the older you get sometimes. I think you guys just learn to control it. But
I think that's why.
What's
I
that?
think that's why we celebrate our birthdays every year so hard. We're surprised we live that long. Every year is a gift.
Abso-freaking-lutely.
I'm 60. I'm astounded I'm still alive.
Oh yeah, I remember when I turned 30, I went, how did I ever make it to 30? And then suddenly 40 turned up and I went, 40? How the fuck? I drank hard, riding motorbikes quickly, and it was like I survived. And now I've recently just turned 50, and it was like, how the fuck did I do that?
Yep.
I often wonder as well because I've seen some of the stunts that my husband's pulled, and I'm amazed every day he doesn't
As a
kill
kid,
himself.
we had built a fort behind our house that was like really, really tall, big old thing that we just kind of threw together, and we would jump off of it and grab sapling trees and then ride them to the ground and then boing, come back up again and land on the fort. Well, every now and then
Jesus.
the hands, they tend to slip and you smack right on the damn ground and we get up.
Nothing's broke. I'm good.
Yeah, I'm good. Man up. And that's
Oh,
just how
good
we think.
Lord.
The best description I've seen for the male psychology, or best analogy I've seen, is that men are like dogs.
Okay.
Like dogs.
I ain't
There are-
sniffing nobody's
there are-
butt though.
There are different types. You've got your purebreds, which tend to be twitchy and kind of unreliable. You've got your mongrels who will bite you in the ass if you turn your back on them. And then most of us, I suspect, are mutts, which are mutts are the most loyal, affectionate things in the world, but we're also dense. So every now and then you got to smack us upside the head with a rolled up newspaper. That to me, that's the male psyche right there. I mean, how many stupid things have you seen your dog do?
Yep. And speaking of which, since we're going to be on this topic anyway, as Jen just moved her camera around,
Yeah, sorry, I was
Did kind of
dying.
get a boob shot right there, and
You're welcome.
You just had to go there, didn't you?
men.
I know you guys are just all
It was really
not
about it was about the
thinking in
logo.
hormones.
It was all about
Yeah,
the logo.
yeah. Wait, let
Totally
me
about
see.
the logo.
There we go.
There we go.
Well, yeah, but those dogs, I mean, men feed us, get us laid every now and then, and we're happy.
Yeah, chuck a
There's really
bologna
nothing
sandwich my way. I'm good.
there's really nothing more complicated than that about
Yeah.
about men.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
every now and then you gotta smack us upside the head with a rolled up newspaper.
Yes.
Which is why it brings us back to how is it that we, meaning you guys, write women? How the hell does that happen? Because we do good to not poke our eye out when we brush our teeth.
I think for me, when I'm when I'm writing female characters, is I base them on people who I've met, who I've encountered, and people I've worked with, and things like that. But not only that, I've got a lot of females who go over my work. My editor's a female, for instance. I've got better readers who are females, for instance, and they will tell me straight up, like, "Nah, you're full of shit. That wouldn't happen," and things like that. So I mean, I do have a lot of people who I can confide in and who will read my work, who can give me the female perspective. So that's kind of how I work. I base it on people who I know, and obviously it just goes from there. Like in the virus, for instance, I've got there's a character who was quite like headstrong, quite like lack of a better word, she doesn't take a shit from anyone really. But then on the other side, there's also another female character who starts out, quite timid almost. She's confident in her role, but she's quite timid when it comes to other things, and it's all part of the character arc, trying to develop that character. So by the next book, she's developed into someone who's a bit more confident and headstrong. And the other female, well, she's just the same as she was in the previous book, really. But it's just about, for me, developing these characters. But yeah, like I say, if I ever step too far out of line, there's always a female somewhere in my life who will say to me, you've gone too far there, or that's not really true to life. So wind it in a bit. But yeah.
I definitely feel for you writers, you male writers, who have to try to figure us out so that you can write professionally about us and not sound completely off the wall.
Well,
I do feel for you.
Again, less is more. The less detail we go into, the more we get away with.
Yeah.
That's true, because if you're not trying to be so specific, so minutely specific about certain characters, then yeah, you'll get away with it. But I mean, and it's sad because there's so much depth to us. One day we're fine, and then the next day we're raging lunatics because of something that happened yesterday that we didn't confront yesterday, but it's bothering us today.
Or 6 months ago.
Yeah.
Trust me, y'all remember stuff that we have forgotten like 2 minutes ago, 6 years later.
Yes. I'll bring stuff up to the husband and he's like, "What are you talking about?" I'm like, 2 weeks ago. Remember when this happened? And he's like, "Dude, I don't remember what I had for lunch 10 minutes ago." And okay.
One sentence out of a 20-minute conversation 3 years ago.
Yeah.
That will come up.
Yes. Yes. And we will nail you to the cross.
Yes. Absolutely.
Yes.
Or the warning phrase in any relationship, "I'm fine."
Yeah.
Oh, that's a dangerous one.
Be scared when she says, "Wow."
Oh shit! Y'all both just sent chills up my spine.
Yeah. That's death. That's instant death.
That's a horror story in itself, that one, isn't it, really?
Yes, and it's one word.
This is where Mama's Boy comes in, because Mom happens to be a woman. And when she speaks, we break. When Dad speaks, it's like, "Hey, you want beer?" Yeah, all right. Two totally different situations to deal with. Now, go ahead.
Do you guys approach people of color the same way?
Mm.
No, I was born in 1961, and my generation was probably the first one raised without institutional prejudice. I mean, granted, down south there's more. There was more than up north, but even so, in Chicago, you had Italian neighborhoods, you had Polish neighborhoods, you had the black neighborhoods, the Puerto Rican neighborhoods, everybody, the Jewish neighborhoods, everybody kind of segregated themselves. So I don't think I had a black friend until I was about 16 years old.
Damn.
And it was just
Wow.
my neighborhood was all white. And it just worked out that way. So when I write somebody of color, like the zombie series, I have 3 or 4 central characters who are black, but I mention that they're black as a description, and basically just leave it at that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't do the black speak. I don't do any of that shit. It just they're black. Yeah, so what? Move on.
I think that's where there's a lot of another, it's another political correctness issue
Mm-hmm.
where you say too much, you can get canceled, and that's not fair.
No.
It's horse shit is what it is.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I
It's
think
like
I mean, I think with my novel, I mean, I have, like I mentioned, there's a lot of prisoners in there, so their language is pretty coarse and to the point. And I was quite concerned because I've got a Polish character in my novel, where he's getting, quite a lot of potential, racist, xenophobic things aimed at him just for his, for the fact that he's Polish. I mean, I've got a close friend who's Polish as well, and I had him read over it almost like as a sensitivity reader. And he loved it. He thought it was hilarious, to be fair. He thought it was really good. But see, I was conscious of that because, like you say, it's the age of political correctness now, isn't it? But for me, I just thought there's no reason why somebody from a Polish race wouldn't be in my novel, if that makes sense. And in the same way, things like people of colour and so on. In our hospitals here, we have a lot of people of colour. There's no reason for me to negate adding them in just to try and appease political correctness, if that makes sense. So, I mean, there's elements of that in the book, but like you mentioned, it's just a case of you mention it and move on. You don't dwell on it. You don't keep on going over and over the fact that, oh, look at me, I've included this type of person. It's literally another person at the end of the day. Certainly from my perspective, anyway. So, yeah, I think it's just a case of, this person's a person of colour, this person's of Polish origin, and that's it. You just move on and just treat them as any normal person would, really, just because, that's just how it is now.
Yeah, growing up, here's an interesting little factoid. Growing up in Chicago, there were more Polish people in Chicago than in any other place outside of Warsaw. And they told more Polish jokes than anybody.
Oh.
Yeah, my friend's the same. Like I said, I've got a friend who's Polish as well, and he's exactly the same. I mean, he'll be the first one to to mock Polish people before anyone else would. That's just the type of person he is. I think that's just the way the way people are, really. But yeah, I mean, I think, like you mentioned, you have to be careful in this age of political correctness, but you can't negate it either. You can't just avoid it, can you? It's just the end of the day. It's real. You try to be as realistic as you can.
I think if you say it like as we are, free speech, it's okay. But as soon as you put it in print, people seem to think that's from the higher power is solid. What you said is what you think. It doesn't matter if it's like
it's fiction.
It's a fiction
Right.
book.
Yeah.
And there's some people are just arseholes, and you've got to write them as arseholes. So you have to, like you say, that Polish bloke, you've got to write him being himself.
Yeah.
You can't just say, "Oh no, he's a jolly nice chap." You know, it's just
Real swell guy.
All right, got to step away for a second. Got a dog I got to transport. Oh, and I guess why not let him have a cameo? Oh, this is 17
Aw.
years, 17-year-old Chihuahua, no teeth,
Aw.
That's
blind.
ancient.
Yep, he is an old man. So I'm about to take him to his mama right now. I'll be right back.
So how many rabbit holes does that make us so far? Have we gone down?
Oh, geez. I lost count at 10.
Lost count.
Perfect.
You're doing
Perfect.
well.
Excellent. Excellent. Well, I mean, look at Stephen King, for example.
Oh, God. He's a wackadoo.
He's a wackadoo, but
Not my favorite.
he was much better when he was younger.
I
And-
read it and I did not like it.
Addict.
Yeah, I read it and he went too far in it. You want
He
to talk
did.
about a book that goes too far? That was it. I was like,
did.
nope, I can't. I just can't. I read the whole book, but after that, and I already didn't. He was not my favorite. Dean Koontz is my favorite writer. He
yeah,
was my
Dean
favorite.
Koontz all the way.
Well,
Yes.
then use Dean Koontz. Dean Koontz writes about people getting killed in horrific ways.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's not out there killing people in horrific ways.
Right.
He just writes about it.
That we
Hope
know
not.
of.
And nobody would accuse him of doing that.
That we know of.
Yeah. Always watching out for the golden retriever walking past alone.
Yes.
Oh, I love
Was
that.
that
Was
Door to
Lightning?
December. He's a golden retriever. I think it's because he has a golden retriever,
Mhm.
but there's a golden retriever in a few of his books. I think in
Yeah,
Hideaway,
boy.
Door to
Walkers.
December. Yeah, Walkers. Yeah, or Watchers. Yeah, there's
Mhm.
the golden retriever in there, and I think it's his golden retriever.
Probably.
I mean, they do say, don't they, that writers would make the best serial killers because just
Right?
our internet search history alone would
Yeah,
be
I know.
to raise a few red flags, I think. But I mean, in your research alone, you learn so much, and and how to go about trying to get away almost with murder, for instance.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Now wait a minute. Just because I have an unusual interest in wood chippers doesn't make me a bad guy.
Yes.
But that's another thing. It worries you because you do your research, and it's like the alien invasion. They stand among us. I was researching FBI headquarters, bombs, and it was just like I'm just asking for
Yeah.
trouble.
Yes, you are.
And
You're-
you're trying to. I tell as many people it's research. It's research.
Yeah.
Delete my browser history. It's okay, cheerleaders. That might not be that, but you never know.
I wrote a book with cheerleaders in it, so
Good Lord.
I always say to my missus, it's like if I die, just burn my computer. Just please, just
Take a magnet to it. Just take a
Bullshit.
magnet to it.
Give me his computer. I want it.
don't try and explain it away. Just get rid of it.
Yeah, right here. It'll be safe.
ultimately, in my opinion, it's the thing. The thing is, we are in the entertainment business, so it's our job to be entertaining,
Kinda.
and
A
that's
little
as
bit.
far as it goes. No,
Yeah.
it is our job to be entertaining. Because if our books aren't entertaining, why would you read them?
Absolutely, definitely.
I mean,
I mean,
we're
hell,
not.
Planning
I wouldn't
my
have this
first
wall
murder.
behind me if it weren't entertaining.
Yeah, we're not writing The Color Purple here. We're writing trash pulp novels and loving it, and so are our fans.
Yeah.
Now,
I think
Not wrong.
sometimes the readers
this-
they bought a book for 99p and they're expecting war and peace.
yeah,
You know,
Yeah.
And you know, one of on my time travel one, they said, oh, they couldn't get past the first chapter, and the main characters was awful and blah blah blah. But if they got past the first chapter, they would realise those two people don't turn up again till the last chapter. They're not the main. It was just like, they're a very tactile couple who playfully. He says something stupid, so she just gives him a slap in the stomach, and he goes, oof. And the reviewer said that was borderline abuse. How could I write something like that?
That's that PC garbage. That's that PC garbage. That's
How many
uncalled
times
for
have you
and
been slapped
unnecessary.
around by the head? You know, it's like,
Today, or I mean, because I
Oh,
say
yeah.
some really stupid shit.
That's what we do, though.
Yes.
We're the super fans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
But
I
no,
but
mean,
sometimes,
No, you keep
so
going. Nick.
sometimes those reviews can, you know, when I first started out, sometimes those bad reviews really hurt, and they really go after you, and not just your writing, but you know,
you
your
personally,
personally.
Exactly. When why do that? Why
Yeah,
go
'Cause they-
after somebody
because they
personally?
don't have a point. They do not have a valid point. That's why.
no,
Because there are assholes in every crowd.
that's your answer
That's
to
true.
every question.
I mean, how many
See-
reviews have you gotten that you know damn well they never read your book at all? They're
Yeah,
just trashing it.
I wonder
I-
if those are paid. If those are the ones that are the paid reviews. Have you ever heard of that?
no.
I've heard of
actually-
it, but I've never done it.
I've never done it
paid.
either, but they actually pay people to just write reviews on stuff.
I could make money.
Yeah, yeah, you could.
Hmm.
You
I
could,
wouldn't
but
be a
then
dick about it.
You'd be a liar.
No, I wouldn't. I'd be like, yeah, this shit's great. Because, well, frankly, I ain't reading something if it ain't. Don't
Yeah,
like it so far and go, okay, I can't. And
I
I'm
had one
chucking it.
bad
I'm moving
review.
on.
One bad review. He copy and pasted off others' reviews and then amalgamated it in his review. And it was just like, that's just lazy. If you're going to insult me, at least do a bit of hard work about it.
Be original.
Oh, for Pete's sake.
Oh no!
Look, as
I give
a
them plenty of
fan,
ammunition. Come on.
look, I try to take the time to actually craft a really good review. I'm not a writer. I don't have a way with words in the written sense. But I try to make sure I put a review down that truly conveys what I feel. Like, did I really like the book? Did I like it?
And you do a great job of it. I love your reviews.
Yeah.
dude.
And if I didn't like the book, most likely it's what would your mama tell you? If you ain't got anything nice to say,
Don't say
don't
nothing
say
at all.
anything at all. And I won't say anything.
Yep.
So if I say something, I freaking meant it. And
Mhm.
so to go after somebody, to attack somebody, to absolutely tear somebody down, oh, that's bullshit. It's
It is
absolute bullshit. No,
It
because
is bullshit.
when I write a review for Jeff, I write a review for Damien, I write a review for Nick, it's gonna be something I meant because I enjoyed it. And if I didn't, I might, just to help you out a little bit, I might drop you 3 stars, 4 stars, and that's it. You're not getting anything else. There's not words, nothing. And I'm out of here with that thing. I don't understand why people want to go out there and attack like that. It's like, what do you think you're accomplishing? I mean, what are you doing? I mean, why?
Keyboard warriors, they feel tough.
I mean, I think for authors, it's really important not to read every review you get.
Don't. Yes.
I mean, personally, I do skim over them. I'm not going to lie. I do skim over them, but that's more to identify trends and patterns. So if somebody, quite a few people are saying the same thing, and it becomes a bit of a pattern emerging there, then I know to adapt that going forward. But the people who just leave 1-star reviews and say, not what I like, I don't like it, didn't think it was good. You just shrug it off, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Everyone's got their own taste, everyone's got their own opinion, but
or the ones who give 1 star and then don't write anything.
Yeah,
Yeah.
what is the point in that? I mean,
Yeah.
give us 1 star, but give us a reason why you say 1 star. Did you? Because I mean,
Yep.
a lot of the time you see people who give 1 star because the book turned up and it was damaged, and it's like, well, the author has nothing to do with that. That's like Amazon. That's from whichever provider you've used. You know what I mean? But a lot of the time they'll give 1 stars for that. But I mean, at least tell us why, and at least tell the other readers why you give them 1 star, just so that you make an informed, decision from there.
Well,
But,
on what you just said, Damien, I have literally had a book that I kept getting texts from the author asking if I got the book. And I'm like, no, not yet. Got the book? No, not yet. Got the book? No, not yet. Then it finally shows up. The package is torn and looks like someone drove a forklift over it like 4 or 5 times. Like, I literally had that happen, and it was like just smut, dirt on one side of the package. And someone finally stopped and picked it up and went, oh shit, we might want to finish mailing this. And then it gets to me, and thankfully the book was in good shape, and it's actually up there on the freaking wall up there, by the way, and it made it here safely. But yeah, I mean, you can't just be an asshole like that. Oh, and real quick, hello, Angel Ramon has popped in. He's saying hi to everybody.
Morning, Angle.
So now, let me ask you this. When you're going through the process of getting the book published, how do you guys come up with who's going to do your covers for you?
I mean, I can answer this one.
Flailing around.
Yeah, I tend to go through cover artists quite a bit until I find the right one. I'm for the virus. I had a couple of cover artists before I settled with one, which was Red Cape Publishing, Red Cape Graphic Design. I think I used for that one. The next one, again, I use different people, and different people give me different ideas, and I think it's just a learning curve. You find somebody that you feel will work well with your book. Now, for me personally, because the first book sold so well based on the cover and based on a lot of people saying they bought the book for the cover, I tried to find somebody who could replicate that kind of design, that kind of feel, and keep it in line with the previous book for the new one that I've bought out. But I think it's a case of just looking around and finding, which is the best artist for you, really, seeing what work they've got and which one will fit your, the concept in your mind, really.
Yeah, well, it's the same way. It's the same way with a an narrator. You just look around for the ones that get what you're doing. For a cover, you just look around for the ones that convey what you're trying to convey.
Yeah, because there's a lot of websites out there that will sell a pre-made cover. You just have to order the text, and that's what I do. I just look around to find the right one. I don't always get it right. I've spent like, what's it, 80 quid on a cover. I thought that's the one, that's it, and I've put all the graphics on it, my name and that, and then when I've come to publish it, I've looked at it and gone, yeah, that's shit. By the time you finish the story,
dude, seriously,
by the time you finish the story, you think it doesn't really work, so you look for another one. Well, but there's lots of websites out there that you can just pick and choose.
I was going to say, do you just Google?
Yeah, you just pick and choose the right one.
Yeah,
I know people say a lot about not.
That right there is pretty. That's pretty. That's a good cover. Now, how did you have like other options before you went with this cover?
Well, no, that was a pre-made from the same guy who did the first 3.
Okay.
And I just had him add the Arizona Memorial down on the bottom of it.
Oh, okay. But dude, I mean, it's if it would fit in one of my frames, it would be on the wall. It's kind of big, dude. So
we can make it fit.
Wait till the box set comes out.
It'll
be smaller.
All right, then. Now we're talking. Because I mean, I'm all about a good cover. Obviously, can't help myself. But
now, Damien, you were saying before you got rudely interrupted.
Sorry.
I
Sorry
know
about
what I'm
that.
saying now, to be fair. Oh, yeah, I mean, people say, never judge a book by the cover and things like that, but I think people underestimate just how important a book cover is.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because people do actually judge a book by the cover, and that's what makes people stop to read. If you imagine you're skimming through the likes of Amazon and Barnes and Noble and so on, it's the cover that stands out, the cover that makes people stop to think, okay, well, I'll have a look at that.
Absolutely.
So I mean, people tend to say, oh, well, the cover's not that important, maybe, but I think the cover's probably one of the most important parts. You find the cover, you get a good cover artist, and then people then go on to read your blurb. Now, the blurb itself, obviously, writing a blurb is an art in itself, really. But I mean, from what I've experienced anyway, it's a case of the cover is what immediately stops people and makes them want to actually read it and go on to find out more about that book. So
And the title. You gotta have a catchy title.
Yeah, exactly that as well.
That people remember.
Yeah, definitely.
Absolutely.
Now, I've asked this question before on a different podcasts. From my observation, horror in general and zombies to a lesser extent, but still kind of prevalent. From what I've seen, there are more women fans than men. You go into like the Asylum of Fear, the group that I run. There are more women who are active in that group than men.
Like Jen.
Like Jen, like Jen and Michelle Bataille and the list goes on and on. What have you seen? Well, why would you think that women like horror as much as they do? I mean, the typical demographic is 17 to 24-year-old males. That's the horror demographic right there. That's all the 80s movies ever made were made for 17 to 24-year-old males. But women love it in many cases more than guys do.
Maybe it's to satisfy their bloodlust.
Definitely.
All right, good. She said it. I ain't got to say nothing. She
Speaking
said
from
it.
experience.
So we're giving them ideas then.
Maybe. I'm not going to tell you. But no, I think it also not only does it, it satisfies some of our sadistic, yeah, I'd like to do that to somebody for real. Um, but I think it also is the genre that portrays women more strong. And that is who we want to be recognized as a strong woman. You know, I'm confident enough I can tell you I am a strong female. But there's some women who are just not as confident and they want to be that main character. And if your main character is a strong woman, you're gonna have a lot more women reading this stuff because of the fact that I want to be her. What are her qualities? I want to be her. So I think it's got a little bit to do, and we laugh about it that it's, quenching our bloodthirst, but it's true. I mean, yeah, you guys come up with some crazy stuff that I'm like, never thought of that. I would love to do that to somebody. If I needed to, of course.
Of course.
But it's also, we're portrayed, it's almost kind of like a respectful revere. You guys revere us a little bit more if we're the strong partner type versus the, oh my God, I need you to save me again because my heel got stuck in the grate and my makeup is back home and I can't go home because zombies are in my house. So
And I'm running away and trip for no apparent reason.
No. Yep.
yeah, because I'm a klutz and save me. But yeah, I think a lot more women are drawn to this genre a lot more for the strong female aspect.
By the way, ergo Tracy Tufo or Tracy Talbot. By the way, you
No,
need to.
yeah, absolutely. More the merrier. I've done 3 different collaborations. 2 of them were with myself and another woman, or a woman. The other
Title?
one was Dark Incubus and Written in Blood. And then I did one with 5 other writers, 2 of which were women, which is The Collector, that I did in Asylum of Fear. And what the women wrote was far more twisted than I could have come up with.
Don't underestimate that PMS.
No.
So now, what keeps you guys driven to keep writing these stuff with the women the way you do? I mean, because at some point you got to be like, what else can I do with a female character that hasn't already been done, and I'm still not going to overstep my bounds? Stumped them again.
Dead silence. Well, I mean, look at the popularity of characters like Ripley, or Sarah Connor, or Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Damn right.
I wanted to be Sarah Connor so bad growing up.
I wanted to be Buffy.
You are Buffy.
I mean, I think you've already mentioned the fact that there's so many women reading these kind of books now. They don't want to just be reading male oriented hero saves the day kind of bullshit, things like that. They want to see female characters to be brought to the forefront and actually just being on par with male characters, I think, and just being able to relate to them a bit more. From what I've gathered. So I think it's it, and just for variety as well. I mean, no one wants to keep reading about how a male keeps on saving the day and all that kind of stuff. It's a tired trope that's been done since the 70s, 80s, 90s, and so on. It's become a bit stagnant now. I think if we make it more realistic in that if an apocalypse did happen, women would be just as good, if not better, than men in adapting and going forward, you're surviving really. So, but I mean, from my perspective, that was certainly why I made sure that I focused on a male role in one sense, but then a female role in a completely different storyline. And in the virus, they kind of intertwine with each other. They kind of like they do merge, they do crossover, they do meet each other and so on, then go their separate ways. But I think it's important to show both perspectives of how each gender would cope with the potential zombie apocalypse, if that makes sense.
And you want to challenge yourself as a writer, don't you? Because writing about just blokes running around the countryside, that's easy. It's bread and butter. But you throw in the female lead and how they're feeling, how they're going to gel with the team, that just throws up so many opportunities to fail or to succeed, You really
miserably.
Yeah.
And hey, spinning off the joke, like what she was saying about the PMS and all that, they have physical issues that we don't have. They have things they go through that we don't deal with. And that's not going to stop just because they're zombies. They're still going to go through the same things. And you're going to have to deal with their physical things. Again, it's a guy. Thank you. You talk about this stuff, not me. I don't know.
Well, that
I'm
was
over
something
uncomfortable.
That was something that I did wonder about as I'm reading with these female characters is you never talk about having to go rob the pharmacy because you need a tampon. So honestly, maybe a little. I don't know if that's crossing any lines though. For me, I guess it wouldn't be, but for some women, it might be. How dare you? You're a man. Why are you talking about our womanly issues? But it's honestly it's actually pretty important aspect of it because, it does cause a problem.
Hmm.
Yeah.
It adds that
It
element of realism, doesn't it? I think it adds that just like the fact that you've even considered that and adding it as part of your storyline shows that you're considering the realistic aspect of what the zombie apocalypse will be,
exactly.
as
And
opposed to
pregnancy too.
yeah,
Pregnancy too.
definitely, yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Because you got these female main characters that are, you know, falling in love with, their co-main characters that are male or other females, whatever. But I mean, you can't get pregnant from other females. But if they're falling in love with their male co-stars or whatever, how are they avoiding that? Because that's a real life issue. That is definitely something that, I mean, we're not in the apocalypse, but there's tons of people that have to worry about that every day. you know,
Well,
Yeah.
and
so
what
I
about
don't,
even
I don't
like,
know how you guys address it. I mean, because I guess that would be my main question is how would you guys address something like that? Just for a hysterectomy or whatever. But, before the apocalypse
I
hit,
yeah,
she was one of the lucky ones, or
I kind of feel called out now because
haha,
in my most
yeah,
recent the one that's coming up now, I mean, you mentioned already about the sex aspect and how you find a lot of folk would visit like sex in zombie apocalypse and things like that, and it's if you think you haven't showered for like 3 days, 4 days, 5 days,
I
who
know that's the
realistically
other
who's actually
thing.
going to do that?
Ugh, ugh.
sense.
So I
Oh,
mean, I kind of visit that in my book, but one of the characters, she's actually says that she's had a hysterectomy, and she addresses that issue in the next in the next novel. So
Nice.
I mean, I kind of feel called out in that sense with that,
damn
but
you,
yeah, I mean,
Jen.
you have to address it because I mean, it's all right, romanticizing it in a way to say, you run off together into the sunset, live happily ever after, and all
Right.
that kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, the zombie apocalypse is survival. And if you haven't showered for like 3, 4, 5 days, you're not going to be getting anywhere near anybody else to be able to do that kind of thing. So, I mean, I think it's important to kind of to address that in these books and not kind of romanticize it. I mean, there's people who do enjoy that kind of book, but for me, I try to go for the realistic approach, if that makes sense. I try to like go for what would actually happen, as opposed to the romanticized idea of we'll just have sex just for the sake of it, just to appease male readers and so on, and go from that angle. For me, it's more about being realistic as to what would actually happen.
And
Absolutely.
honestly, I
Because
could do with less sex, honestly, in a lot of books. Like I
yeah,
don't really need that. It's
I
like
mean, it wouldn't happen, would it? It wouldn't happen in an apocalyptic scenario. If you imagine your sole focus is going to be food, water, and survival, you're not going to be thinking, oh, that person's good looking, I fancy a bit of that and stuff. I mean, down the line, maybe once you're secure with food, water, supplies, and things like that. But at the end of the day, your entire goal is going to be survival in an
yeah,
apocalyptic scenario.
yeah, you got the
Um,
walls up, you're
things like
fully
that, yeah,
secured. Yeah. But outside of that, no, I don't need to know that this character and that character suddenly got a connection.
yeah.
Yeah, because during the apocalypse, your senses will be afire with taste, smells, everything around you. And the last thing you want to do, wipe the blood off. Come on, darling, let's have a go, shall we?
go take a
Well,
dip in the river.
as Angel just commented, for me, the sex has to fit into the context of the story.
Agreed.
That's true.
Yeah, you find
Absolutely.
so many authors will just throw it in just to appease, the certain type of reader that wants that kind of thing. But like Angel said, I think it does need to, actually make the story flow, make the story move on. If you just throw it in just for the sake of it, it's not relevant,
No.
really. But
No, if I'm reading a story and then all of a sudden there's that going on, I'm like, did I miss something?
Yeah,
Where
right.
did I skip pages and not realize it? Did I doze off? It doesn't make any sense to me because as you had said already, you're gonna be worried about shelter, food, and ev- surviving. Just being able, making sure you've got water. And another part of being a female is 9 times out of 10 we have kids.
Hmm.
And that's usually a place that people do not want to travel. That's usually and
Kids are always a side story.
they are, and they really. It's hard because it's like a lot of especially if they're young kids. It's
Hmm.
what movie was that where they all had to be quiet or else those things would go after them?
The Quiet Place, is it?
Quiet
Yes,
Yes,
Place.
Quiet
thank
Yeah.
you. The
Place.
Quiet Place.
Yeah.
That movie, it was so essential for them kids to be there, but it annoyed the living piss out of me because there were kids there. And I'm just like, and she had a baby, and she stick with this baby with an oxygen tank inside of uh, like a a trunk that was like noise proof so that nobody could hear the baby cry, which was ingenious. But I mean, I cannot stand when kids are involved. But the reality is, the apocalypse hits 9 times out of 10. You got tons of single women out there that are single parents, and it's
Mhm.
just I mean, I'm sorry, but they're going to be zombie food. I hate to say it, as much as I hate
Mhm.
to say it. Them women and them kids are going to be zombie food simply because of the fact that it's not realistic to be able to walk around with 3, 4, 5 year olds for ungodly amounts of time. They're going to whine, they're going to be loud, they're going to get tired, they're going to get cranky, and it's just a whole nother mess.
It's like being a Chihuahua parent.
Yes,
Mhm.
It's not
they are
happening. Yap, 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 yap,
forever
yap.
toddlers. Yes.
Hmm.
Yep. Now I put romance into my zombie series, but number
Yes,
one,
you did.
they're on a ship, so the shelter is taken care of. There are showers on the ship, so they're clean. I put the romance in there simply because to have the entire story told
Dude, him and her were supposed to
with
hook
with
up. I'm
with,
sorry.
with nothing but death and destruction, there's no reason to keep fighting and dying. You got to have something to hope for.
Hmm.
And the easiest um, manifestation of that would be romance, the possibility of romance. But I don't dwell on it that much. Like you said, the characters Jonesy and Molly.
Yep.
When they finally hooked up, that was pretty much the end of.
And
I
that was
didn't really talk.
hilarious the way it happened. She just
Oh
rips the
wait,
freaking shower curtain
you,
open
you
like,
haven't you haven't gotten to the fourth book yet, dude.
oh hell.
But um, once they finally hook up, that's the end of me talking about it. I'll mention it in passing, but that's about it. Because you look at so many, or the most famous one would be Moonlighting. As soon
Ah,
as those two characters hooked up, the show went to shit.
yep.
That is
Because
such an old show.
it is such an old
We're
show.
old
But
people.
I'm old
okay,
too, but
all right, we'll look at something more modern. Castle.
Yeah.
Okay.
Castle.
Lu-
With the shit.
Castle, Lucifer. You can
Yeah,
even talk
as soon
about
as
Grey's
they hook up,
Anatomy.
yeah, as soon as they hook up, the story becomes their relationship, which is the most boring fucking thing in the world.
Yes.
Agreed.
Because they're always going to end up falling out and breaking up. Or, well, are they? It's all piss off.
All right. Well, hey Nick, Olga, you've got the
Hey.
thing going there, man. And my man is chasing her. He finally finds her. What do you plan on doing with that after all this that you've heard?
Yeah, but Olga knows what she wants, and when he finds her at the end, she just says he fought through everything, he survived the whole thing, and she just says to him, "Where have you been?" It's just like, oh,
Keep
there
it
is a
simple, stupid.
yeah.
Mhm.
No, she's Russian and Russian ex-army. I know that's you don't talk about that now, but I wrote that before this whole thing kicked off. But they're such a mismatched couple. he was a gamer, and she's like ex-Russian military stroke maid who just basically looked after him after his parents died and just parented him, and just was disgusted by him, the way he lived his life.
I say you
Sounds
guys,
very
if y'all haven't read this book or listened to this book, I swear to you, got to check it out. Oh my God, it's so good.
So I
It's
see
just-
Angel says, let's say erotic zombie fiction isn't a big thing in my opinion at least. I tried it and it started well but died off. Erotic zombie fiction? Was that ever a thing?
Is that the thing?
Zombie porn?
I hope not.
Zombie
That's
porn?
one hell of a niche, isn't it? Really.
Yeah.
He might need to throw a new comment up to explain himself on that.
Just the body parts falling off at
Yeah.
appropriate times. This is like, oh.
I mean,
Like
if you want to
leprosy
write about
porn.
necrophilia, you know, whatever floats your boat, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man.
And with that, we just totally went sideways.
Of course we did.
You're welcome.
Hallelujah.
Again. God, I'm getting good at this.
Yes,
You're
you
already
are.
good at it.
Which incidentally, you are becoming an official member of the Super Fan Club, and you will be getting a $25 gift certificate from Amazon.
Well, I'll be buying all your books.
Yeah.
Cool.
That's
Cool.
all it's gonna go for is everybody's books.
Yeah, just message me with whatever email you want me to send it to, and I'll send it to you.
Oh my God, you're awesome. Thank you. Let's see.
Here's the thing, and this is the reason that I wanted to start this particular podcast to begin with, is as writers, we don't exist without you guys. It's with the readers. Without the readers, we're just writing stuff to ourselves. And we are, first and foremost, readers ourselves. So 99.999% of the writer podcasts out there are just a bunch of writers telling each other how great we are. It really doesn't include the readers. That's why I started this podcast, is I want to bring the readers in. Without you guys, we're gone. We're done.
Well, I love it. I loved getting asked to join the podcast today because of the female main character topic. I thought that was really awesome. And having everybody here, two more authors I had no idea about that I am going to be looking up. Thank you guys very much. I'm super stoked. So I'm really thrilled. I appreciate this kind of stuff. I appreciate being able to talk to you. And I think you guys are just such an awesome group of people. And I had said on another podcast, this is better than the brotherhood that I would have gotten working in law enforcement. I appreciate you guys.
You're a badass, lady. I'm sorry. You're a badass.
You guys are the badasses.
But no, I honestly, I can speak for her on this one as somebody that's got a little trophy up on there on that shelf. Man, you guys are absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah.
And I love getting to be part of this. And
Yep.
it's really special to get to be part of anything similar to this, but to be part of this actually on a show. Oh, y'all are fucking great.
Yeah. Don't worry, we'll fluff you.
Well, no. What would be even better is if you tell all your friends.
Mm-hmm.
We
Friends?
One of those.
One of those, yeah. I was gonna say.
Yeah.
It's Saturday night.
Yeah, I mean, we want input. Give us input. Tell us what you guys like. Tell us what you guys don't like. Tell us what you guys want to see more of.
So now we are looking to get
I'm-
more fans on, right?
Absolutely.
So open invitation. If you're out there listening right now, you're checking it out a day or two from now, You want to come on this show, be part of this thing, be a super fan, dude, send a message, holler at one of us, anybody, and just say, hey, I want to be on this show. You're on. It's
And-
that simple.
And even if it's just you want to ask a particular author a question,
Yep.
message us.
Yep.
We would be delighted to answer your questions.
Maybe.
Yeah, well,
Maybe.
now if the question is what color underwear you're wearing, I'll answer that. But if it's
That's
something
for
a little
only
personal,
fans.
yeah.
That's
Oh.
a different kind of fan now, Jack.
I always ask the hard hitting questions.
You do.
It freaks me out that I have actual fans, but groupies is another thing entirely. I don't want to go there.
Okay, is it possible to be both?
I suppose.
Okay,
mean-
what color underwear are you wearing?
It's Commando Day.
So flesh colored. I'll take it.
I mean, he didn't answer, so I'm just making an assumption.
Yeah.
You gotta leave some mystery, man.
It's all right. It's laundry day. You can admit it to us. It's laundry day.
Laundry day. I'm not
This-
wearing any pants. It's laundry day.
But this is what makes a good show when it's just like a group of friends hanging out at the bar saying, fuck it, we're just hanging out.
And we are
Yeah.
trained professionals, so don't attempt this at home. Unfortunately, we're not trained at doing this, but we are trained professionals.
Trained at something.
God.
Yeah.
Off the rails.
okay.
Ooh.
They were rails?
Hey, well, apparently there weren't.
They're gone.
Damien, first off, hang on.
Okay.
Hey up.
Very ominous here, isn't it?
I am
not-
not
not-
letting him get to do this alone.
Now you look like Joe Satriani with a hood.
So I can be
Oh
rocking the
my
glasses
God.
too. So why not? It's all about the fun. It's always been about the fun.
Yeah.
Definitely, man. Definitely.
But real quick, I just wanted to say this. I've absolutely enjoyed, listening in the most part, reading in Damien's part to you guys' work. And I don't want you guys to stop ever. Like, basically, that means you're not allowed to die. So,
No pressure.
No pressure.
No.
You've kind of got to keep going because dude, I built a freaking wall. So just keep doing what you're doing because you guys
Sequel,
are badass.
sequel.
And we were talking early on in the beginning of this show about Stephen King, Dean Koontz. I like throw Peter Benchley in there because I love Jaws. It's like my favorite movie of all time. You guys are better, in my opinion, than them. Because when I read, you guys don't spend 20 minutes telling me about somebody's freaking wristwatch. You get to the point. It's this. It's hammer, 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 hammer. Let's go. And then occasionally there's a description of a relationship and it keeps everything flowing. And that's what somebody with ADHD needs, is to keep it going. Because the moment you start getting long-winded about pointless stuff, about why a chair is sitting in a particular position in a room with a lamp beside it and a fucking towel laid over the top, I don't care. I lose interest. And you guys don't do that. Y'all are straightforward, right to the point. Let's get the story. Let's get the characters. Let's get the action.
And
Yeah,
to
because-
add to that, I also love that you guys are reachable.
Yes.
That
Yeah, 'cause
to
some-
me-
some-
that to me is
Sometimes
way
a room
more
is a
important.
room. Sometimes a room is just a room.
It's
It
just a
doesn't
room.
matter if what they call the pot plant. It doesn't matter. sometimes, you can describe the house and just say, oh, it's a house. You can go in. But if you spend a whole chapter describing the whole bloody thing, like I've read like Stephen King's and stuff like that, and sometimes you just think, get to the point.
On and on.
You know,
Yep.
please,
Yeah.
just get to the point.
That's
Yeah.
why, I mean, even Dean Koontz, to me, I've always been Koontz over King. I will
Yep.
admit that. I am a Koontz over King guy all
Me
day,
too.
every day, because he's more to the point.
Yep.
And even he drones on at times.
Yeah, he does. He does drone on.
Don't drone on, guys. That's my tip to you. As a fan, that's my tip back to you. Don't drone on about things. Get to the point. Let's go. Chop, chop. Which is why, for the record, I love Jeff's book so much. This guy literally can write a book and have over 100 chapters in it. Over 100 chapters because he's quick. Pop, 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 pop.
Well,
pop,
yeah, the
pop.
chapters
Let's
are
go.
really short.
And he keeps it going though, but the flow is right there. You're ready for the next one. Like, feed me more, keep going. That's the kind of writing I like. That's what makes me come back. And you guys nail that, and I appreciate that. So
The best
That's all.
advice I ever got came from an agent years ago that I met at a writers conference. He said to write the story as if you're watching it in a movie.
yes,
It's just you notice, especially these days with the. I mean, I grew up with, in the '60s. The movies were a lot slower back then. You had a lot more panning, a lot more long scenes. Nowadays, it's cut, 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 cut. And that's a bit too out of control for me sometimes. But yeah, it's just when I read something, especially if you're reading late at night, and that's the last thing you do. You get to a point where, okay, I'm getting tired. But you're like halfway through this 25-page chapter. It's like, where can you stop?
right.
You stop at the
Excellent
chapter.
point. Yep.
So my chapters are like 3-4 pages long. Then I move on to something else. So you can, okay, that's good. I can go to sleep now.
It's like chop suey. You're freaking hammering it, and I appreciate that. I love that because it's like you'll take two characters, put them in a spot, go, okay, here's what's happening. You said this, you said this, you said this, you said this. Bam. Next chapter. And it moves on, and yet it links, it follows, it flows. And that's what it's all about at the end. It doesn't matter if the chapter's long or short. Does it flow?
Yeah.
Jeff Thompson flows.
Well,
He
it's
can
like,
drop. Go ahead.
It's like, you look at any good movie that you really enjoy, even with a battle sequence that takes 30 minutes, there's 15 scenes in that 30 minutes. It's, because you're going, you got, okay, now this character's in the battle and they're doing what they're doing. So, okay, you move over to this character and they're doing what they're doing. Then you move to another one, then another one, then the bad guy comes in.
And it keeps flowing.
And that's how a good movie is made. It's been put together as one scene at a time. You just do short scenes, and at least that's the way I do it.
Dude, for you guys, if y'all haven't checked out Jeff's series, you're fucking up. I'm just saying it.
I love this guy.
Well, it's true though. It's freaking true. His book is that damn good. His series is that damn good because it flows like he just described. It rolls. You keep going. You get caught up in the characters, and you're wondering what's going to happen with this one and what's going to happen with that one, and all of a sudden it's just action, 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 action. It just rolls. It doesn't stop. It doesn't let up. And when it does semi let up, it's just to basically give you a little bit of info, some side stuff, and then
Well, you got to let people breathe.
Yeah, and
You
that's
can't just
basically
be
what it is.
nonstop action. You got to give the audience or the readers a chance to breathe. That's why you throw in a bit of comic relief here, or there's a pause, so it's like, okay,
Yeah,
okay,
catch your breath and go.
catch your breath, and then it's back to absolute chaos again.
Yep, and like, there's so much stuff I want to say about that series, but I can't because it's all spoilers. So I'm just gonna shut up about it.
And you've always got to have a bit of comedy in whatever
yeah.
the topic.
You have to.
You've got
He's
to
got it.
laugh.
Yep.
And so, yeah, you guys, I swear, me getting to land into this universe, and I'm so thankful that Jennifer got to join me on this journey because she's now my sidekick, my tag team partner, my fucking life mate at this point. You guys have opened my eyes to such a world that I didn't know existed. I didn't
sorry
even know
about
was
that.
real.
I must
Hey.
say, the only reason that I was even in this group was because of my friend Mary Jackson, and she had passed away a year and a half ago, almost 2 years ago. And because of her, I have met the greatest group of people ever in my life. So thank you, Mary. And
Yes.
thank you guys for allowing me in on this.
Well,
I mean, I don't know if it's-
incidentally, you're officially our token female for this podcast. Whether you
Anytime
like
you
it
need a
or
female
not.
view, you go to Jen.
Hey,
Yay.
going with the Coast Guard reference, we just tied an anchor to your leg. You're kind of
We
stuck
got
here.
it.
I mean, I
happened
don't know.
at the last podcast I was on too.
Uh-huh.
I don't know if anyone else feels the same way, but when it comes to the horror community, I think it's so much more. I mean, more understanding and more of a community than any other type of genre out there.
Yes.
The horror community does seem to be, the best one, and I know I'm biased in that sense, but
I don't think so. I think that you're spot on because I just see everybody helping everybody in this community.
definitely, yeah, definitely. I mean, I write. I mean, I've wrote a few fantasy, bits and pieces in the past as well. But I mean, I think for horror, there just seems to be that community there from everyone. Regardless of how many books you've read, how much experience you got of writing that kind of, that kind of genre. There just seems to be that kind of camaraderie that you don't seem to get anywhere else. Which, I mean, it's pretty good. From my perspective, certainly. Writing horror. So yeah, it seems to be different than any other genre, really.
Yeah, it's a true brotherhood.
I think a big part of it, and this is just my opinion, but I think a big part of it is that the vast majority of writers who do this independently aren't going to make a whole lot of money.
Yeah.
So we do it because we love it.
Yeah.
And we want to, it's like anything else you love, you want to share it with people.
And that might be another thing that the readers need to understand is that I'm not doing this to get rich. I'm doing this because I love it.
Yes.
Well, and that's why when Dee and I decided to make Jack this year's Uber fan, we were doing it because he does so much work, and you're doing it as well, Jan. And you don't have any skin in this game.
Mm-mm.
I mean, essentially, the three of us writers here, we at least are shamelessly promoting ourselves.
Yes. And we love it.
And it's
We do.
and we'll make a couple of sales based on this, but
Or not.
we're not.
Wishful thinking there.
Well, you've got at least one. As at least one.
Yeah, true.
But you guys do it. You guys are involved in this stuff simply because you love it. And you guys are involved in these groups simply because you love it.
Yep.
Yeah.
And, love that's one-sided sucks. It's just flat. It's dead. So this goes both ways, folks.
Man, thank you for saying that because
Yeah.
honestly, I love my. In fact, hell, I'm going to just hang on a minute.
Jeez.
Man of many hats. Oh, what was that?
Oh, hang on. Oh, hat back on. All right.
What was that?
I had to show my little trophy right there.
Oh, that's
Ain't
cute.
ain't that pretty? Yeah, that's
That is.
zombie super fan of the year.
Well, to give you an idea of why we did it, the first time Jack did anything like this
This goes way back.
was when Jamie Hernandez was doing an author takeover as part of a renaming thing for another group, which will not be mentioned,
Nope.
because we hate them.
Mm-hmm.
But no, we don't.
Yeah, the horror
But
community
We don't
is
hate
so
them. We don't
close.
hate them. It's just we're not affiliated anymore.
but he came on as just a reader, and Jamie was doing her things, and I was hanging out because I was basically I floated the platform we did it on, and I just kind of hung out and filled in the gaps here. And they spent the whole day, and it was awesome.
It was a long day. It was like
it was
8
a lot of
hours.
fun. Yeah, it was a lot
Wow.
of fun. Jack got shit faced.
Yes, I did.
Which was pretty hilarious.
Good man, good man.
Yes, I did. I got toe up from the flow up.
But from that, Jack took it upon himself to start doing this stuff, to start doing podcasts, to start, promoting the writers. And it's like, how could we not acknowledge that?
Right.
Hell, literally at one point they had technical difficulties to where when one of the authors was about to come on and there was literally nobody there that could interview him because they were crashed. And they sent out an open call like, can anybody please come on and do this? And I'm like, well, I'm drunk as shit, but yeah, I can do it. So I went on and I wound up interviewing the guy, and it was like, okay. And then I stuck around for a little while. Then I finally dropped off the end of it and never thought anything else about it after that, other than it was, man, that was really freaking cool. That was so awesome.
But that was the first time I had readers come on one of these things.
That's the first time I ever met that sexy man right there.
Are you shit faced now?
Probably. If not, he should be. But we've got 2 minutes left. So let's everybody give their final thoughts. Jen, ladies first.
Okay, final thought is you guys are freaking phenomenal. I am so excited to have been a part of this today. I appreciate actually that you guys had me on to give my expert female opinion on female main characters. So you guys are phenomenal. I'm ecstatic that I got to meet 3 additional authors. This has been such an amazing opportunity. I thank you guys so much, and I will be buying books.
Hey, audiobook codes, if y'all got them, y'all know where to send them.
I buy. I don't use audio codes. You guys deserve to get paid for your stuff.
I got plenty of codes. If you ever want them, just shout.
I've got them laying all over the place.
Yeah.
See, they just got them laying
just
around.
Can't give them away.
See?
Yeah, well, when I sent you those audio codes.
Dude, you hammered me. I thought you were sending me one. All of a sudden, my
Yeah.
damn tablet goes ding, 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 ding. I'm like, what in the hell is happening over here?
I'm not a drug dealer. I'm not trying to get you hooked on it. If I'm giving you one, I may as well give you the whole series.
He's got the package, man.
Which he did.
Which I did.
And I'm listening.
But about a third of the codes that I sent you were ones that I'd sent to other readers, and they'd never used them.
Yeah,
Wow.
They'd never claimed them.
that happens a lot.
Slackers.
It's free. Why not?
I bet that happens a lot.
No
Yeah.
shit.
It does. It does. It's a numbers game.
No,
So
screw that. I'm taking them. The moment I get them, I need something to keep me sane
That's
at
what
work.
I would do. That's what I would do.
I mean, hell, I'm gonna quit my job without these damn books.
Anyway, thank you for inviting me on. It's been a pleasure to meet you all finally.
Yes.
That's it, really. Boom. Hopefully, I can come on again some point.
Oh, we can definitely make that happen.
Oh yes. We'll be
Good way
doing
to
this
spend
every 2
Saturday
weeks.
night.
We'll be doing this every 2 weeks. So
Yeah, if you want to come back around again,
Absolutely.
just saying. Can make you a regular.
I'll speak to the missus.
Okay.
the one who really wears the pants in the family.
Oh,
Mhm.
God bless her.
Damien?
You're Olga.
I mean, I'm more than happy to come back on anytime. You know what I mean? I'm just
Oh, we love you, Damien.
anytime you want me back on, just let me know, and I'll be straight back here.
Cool. Awesome.
Brilliant.
Jack?
Yes. You
Final
want me to take
thought.
us out? I will
Take us
take us
out.
out with this. My final thought is simply this. If you guys haven't checked out Jeff Thompson, if you guys haven't checked out Nick Plumridge, aka Nick James, if you haven't checked out Damian Lee, you're fucking up. Just blunt. You need to go find these authors and know how awesome they truly are, because they are something special. We love Stephen King, we love Dean Koontz, we love all our traditionally published authors, but oh my God, there's so many secrets, so many hidden beauties that no one ever sees. They're right here, and we will be bringing you more of them in the future. So you get ready, because we ain't done. We're
Not
just
even
getting
close.
started.
No.
And Jennifer,
Yeah.
if you're bored, you are more than welcome to join me as the co-host here too.
Oh, well, thank you. I am honored. Jeez, thanks.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And with that, I will pass it back to our main host,
All
Mr.
right,
Jeff
folks.
Thompson,
Thanks,
the guy.
thanks to all of you for joining us here. It's words cannot express how grateful I am. Thanks to everyone that chimed in. Thanks to everyone that listened and lurked in the shadows. Thanks to everyone who's going to be listening and watching these later. This will be on YouTube. There'll be links all over the place. It's in all the written universe groups. The more the merrier. Ask us questions. Do whatever you need to do. And until next time, we love you. Adios, folks.
Peace out.